Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 8th of December. I'm Levan Gudadze. This is my second update for the day in which I will share latest reports of Russian Defense Ministry about progress of special military operation in Ukraine during the previous week from 3rd to 8th of December. Hopefully you will find this video interesting and useful, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and share video with your friends. It will definitely help me to deal with immensely unfair and aggressive YouTube algorithm, broken YouTube algorithm, I will say. Now let's talk about report of Defense Ministry. So in the period of 3rd to 8th of December 2023, armed forces of Russian Federation inflicted 30 group strikes with high precision weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles on the military airfield, infrastructure, arsenals, storage sites for artillery ammunition, military hardware, as well as Ukrainian military bases. In addition, locations of armed forces of Ukraine, separate units were also targeted together with the nationalist formations and foreign mercenaries. All the assigned targets, according to Russian Defense Ministry, have been neutralized or engaged. In Kupiansk direction, now let's go sector by sector. In Kupiansk direction, units of a West group of forces of Russian Army improved the situation along the front line in several sectors and repelled 19 local-scale counteroffensives of Ukrainian armed forces. Aviation and artillery and heavy flamethrower systems of Russian units hit Ukrainian positions and the hardware of 25th Air Assault, 57th Motorized Infantry, 41st and 43rd, and also 60th Mechanized Brigades of Armed Forces of Ukraine, close to Sinkovka, Ivanovka, Berestove, Pishchane, this is Kharkov region, and also Nevskaya, which is Lugansk People's Republic. As a result of clashes between the sides during the previous week, Ukrainian forces in Kupiansk direction lost about 480 military personnel, 3 tanks, 13 armored fighting vehicles, 12 motor vehicles, and 7 field artillery systems, howitzers, field guns, and so on. In Krasny Liman direction, and when it comes to Kupiansk, dear friends, of course, we all are familiar with this sector of the front line. We are talking about this area. This is city of Kupiansk, divided by Oskol River, almost in half, and the main hotspot for quite a while, it's Sinkovka, this village here. Although of course operations are taking place in direction of some other settlements also, and according to Russian Defense Ministry, during the previous week, Russian forces did manage to improve their positions, because after all we are talking about local scale clashes, nothing in a general scale that can influence overall situation on this sector of the front line. Next is Krasny Liman direction. Let me show you this area. So we are talking about this area, by the way, this area, this square, also northern sector. And according to Russian Defense Ministry, units of Tsent group of forces of Russian Army have improved the situation along the front line near Yampolovka, which is Donetsk People's Republic, and with support of aviation and artillery fire, 10 Ukrainian local-scale counteroffensives have been repelled. In addition, strikes were delivered at a cluster of manpower of 95th Air Assault, 63rd and 66th Mechanized, 12 Special Forces brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, close to Kirovsk, Tarskoye, Yampol, and Serebyanka, which is Donetsk People's Republic. As a result of clashes in Krasny Liman direction during the previous weeks, Ukrainian forces lost 1,445 military personnel, according to Russian Defense Ministry, 11 armored fighting vehicles, 17 motor vehicles, and 5 field artillery guns. Next is Donetsk sector of the front line, and Donetsk sector is here, by the way. Main hotspots are Bakhmut and surrounding areas, and also, of course, Avdiivka area, Krasnogorovka and Marinka. Of course, many other settlements also, for example, Novomykhailovka, for last several weeks, since the active phase of operations in Avdiivka direction, Novomykhailovka also become epicenter of actions. But anyway, let's continue with the report of Russian Defense Ministry. So, South group of forces of Russian army inflicted fire damage on manpower and hardware of Ukrainian armed forces near Marinka, Kurdyumovka, Bogdanovka, Andreevka, and Klishchevka, Donetsk People's Republic. Over the past week, 18 attacks launched by Ukrainian armed forces have been repelled in this area. Ukrainian forces, as a result of this local scale clashes between the sides, lost 1,560 military personnel, 12 armored fighting vehicles, 17 motor vehicles, and 22 field artillery systems. So artillery duels in Donetsk sector of the front line was quite intense, and usually artillery systems, artillery pieces of Ukrainian armed forces are destroyed during the artillery duels or by Russian drones. Next is South Donetsk sector of the front line, which is this area, by the way, one of the main directions or main axis of Ukrainian so-called counteroffensive, which began on June of 4th and miserably failed. So this is South Donetsk direction, let's say from Novomykhailovka settlement up to Uglidar and Vremevsky salient. And we did see some level of intensification of clashes in this area. Russian forces were increasing pressure on Ukrainian military personnel in this area. And well, let's see what Russian Defense Ministry has to say. So units of East group of forces of Russian army, aviation and artillery inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 58th motorized infantry, 79th air assault, 23rd and 72nd mechanized and 102nd territorial defense brigades near Novomykhailovka, Uglidar, Urozhaina, Donetsk People's Republic, and also Livadno, which is Zaporozhye region. As a result of local scale skirmishes, artillery duels and the drone wars between the sides, reckoning force operations, Ukrainian forces lost in South Donetsk sector of the front line approximately 845 military personnel, 3 tanks, 13 armored fighting vehicles, 17 motor vehicles, 12 field artillery guns, as well as 1 Grad MLRS vehicle. Next is Zaporozhye direction, most quiet, if we can use this word, most quiet sector on the front line for last several weeks. I will say it's here, by the way, and main hotspot on Zaporozhye sector is of course Orekhov bridgehead, also one of the main axis of Ukrainian so-called counteroffensive, together with South Donetsk sector of the front line. And all Ukrainian forces managed to do since the 4th of June, as a result of this so-called counteroffensive, is to establish control over this small village Rabotina in Orekhov bridgehead and these empty fields, by the way, between Rabotina, Verbova and Novoprokopovka. As I said, Ukrainian counteroffensive did fail miserably, and just in this area, just in Zaporozhye sector of the front line, Ukrainian side, Kyiv regime lost tens of thousands of military personnel during this so-called counteroffensive. Let's see what Russian Defense Ministry is reporting about previous weeks. So in Zaporozhye direction, units of Russian troops carried out intensive defense, during which they repelled 5 attacks launched by assault groups of 82nd Air Assault, 117th and 118th Mechanized Brigades of Armed Forces of Ukraine near Verbovo, Nestyanka, and Uspenovka, Zaporozhye region. Moreover, the Russian armed forces inflicted the damage on manpower and hardware of 46th Air Mobile, 33rd and 65th Mechanized Brigades near Dorozhnyanka, Malaya Tokmachka, and Rabotino, Zaporozhye region. The Ukrainian forces lost in this direction, as a result of these local-scale clashes, 260 military personnel, 6 armored fighting vehicles, 15 motor vehicles, and 5 field artillery guns or howitzers. Well, as you can see, numbers of Russian Defense Ministry definitely confirms that Zaporozhye sector at this point and for quite some time now is most quiet sector among all of the others, and the casualty numbers are least on this direction. And finally, let's talk about Kherson sector of the front. According to Russian Defense Ministry, in Kherson direction, Ukrainian armed forces attempted crossing of Dnieper River to land on the left bank of the islands were thwarted by complex fire strikes and preventive actions of the Russian armed forces. Well, Russian Defense Ministry is basically reporting about constant struggle between the sides, constant fight for control over these islands in delta of the Dnieper River and along the Dnieper River itself. There is dozens and dozens of big and small islands in this area, and both sides are constantly fighting for control over this territory. And well, moreover, aviation and artillery of Russian armed forces inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 35th, 32nd Marines, 124th Territorial Defense Brigades, and near Tyaginka, Tokarevka, Nikolskaya, and Chernobyevka, which is Kherson region. Also, of course, one of the hotspots in Kherson region is this area, dear friends, right next to destroyed Antonovsky Bridge and destroyed railway bridge on the left bank, where Ukrainian forces have some small foothold, because the Russian side did allow it to happen, because left bank have been used by Russian forces as a trap for quite a while now. And also, of course, Krinky, by the way. Krinky, small central part of this village is still partially controlled by Ukrainian forces. And to hold on to this small and irrelevant basically small footholds, Kiev regime sacrificed at least brigade, if we combine all the casualties on side of Ukrainian armed forces during this so-called Kherson offensive operations of Kiev regime in last month and a half period, 2 months time. But anyway, let's continue with the report of Russian Defense Ministry. As a result of these clashes in Kherson direction, Ukrainian forces lost up to 350 military personnel, 13 field artillery guns, howitzers, and so on, 17 motor vehicles, and 21 boats that was used by Kiev regime during these crossing operations on the Dnieper. Also, quite interesting episode that air defense systems of Russian army shut down 5 Ukrainian aircrafts during their previous week, 3 MiG-29 fighter jets and 2 Su-25 attack planes, and also 1 Mi-8 helicopter. Also 11 HIMARS missiles, projectiles, 2 HARM anti-radar missiles, 2 S-20 converted surface to surface missiles, 1 JDAM guided aerial bomb, as well as 224 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles were shut down, 224 drones. Basically, moreover, 12 Ukrainian servicemen have been taken prisoner. Well, I guess this number, when it comes to prisoners, are a little too conservative, because just today I did saw several videos when quite a number of Ukrainian forces are surrendering. I did share some videos on my Telegram, but not all of them. At some point, Ukrainian military did surrender to Russian drone, and I did share that video on my Telegram. And this is it, dear friends. This is it when it comes to short summary of the progress of Russian special military operation in Ukraine during the previous week from 3rd to 8th of December, as it was reported by Russian Defense Ministry. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, and if so, as I said, please click that like button, leave some comment about any topic you like, and share this video with your friends. And well, if you find this project with several channels interesting, useful, and one that deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, in which I do share additional content, extra content on a regular basis. And today would not be exception. Just in hour or two I will upload video on Patreon also. And before I end, dear friends, let me summarize once again numbers of losses of Ukrainian side during the previous week from 3rd to 8th of December. I almost forget about it. So during the clashes between the sides in previous week, Ukrainian forces lost 4,940 military personnel approximately, which is, well, full-blooded brigade by all standards. Also 6 tanks, 55 armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles, 95 different type of transport vehicles, armored cars, and so on. Also 64 artillery systems, 21 boats, and 5 aircraft. 3 of them were MiG-29 fighter jet, 2 of them were Su-25 attack plane, and also 1 Mi-8 helicopter. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care. See you soon.